Marvel's Avengers will be an ongoing 4-player co-op game with 3 new heroes and regions added post-launch, but that does not mean that there won't be a big focus on the single player. We now learned way more about the structure of the game, and it kind of sounds like there are 2 games in one, and that if you enjoy a single player adventure like Marvel's Spider-Man, that this game will also be for you. So let's get into the latest Marvel's Avengers news in this video. Would be awesome if you could leave a like on the video as it shows your support, and let's go. I'm still doing the giveaway for the E3 2019 game of your choice on your platform of choice, including Marvel's Avengers. So just follow the link in the pinned comment for a chance to win, and be sure you are a subscriber of the channel before you enter. If you win, I will reach out and give you a pre-order code for the special edition of the game that you want. Now back to Avengers, because as you might know, I was able to see the gameplay presentation of the game that was showcased at E3. Still hope they release it online though, because it will totally kill your doubts if you have any. So that does mean that in videos like this there will be a lot of the same footage, but we'll try and switch it up with maybe some Spider-Man stuff here and there. And that would totally not be out of place, because this game actually made me think of that Insomniac game in terms of action, funny one-liners, and also the cinematic explosions that happened a ton during the demo. A lot of things happened during that 25-minute gameplay presentation with different enemies and vehicles to fight, a ton of different locations that we could fight them. It was really cool. Well, it turns out that there will be a full campaign of that. During the E3 Coliseum, the developers explained the structure of this game. So first you will have this introduction mission during Avengers Day, where everything goes to shit and you take control over the different characters like we saw in the E3 trailer, and I of course detailed in my big video going over the demo they showed behind closed doors. And then after this mission you make that 5-year jump, and then the game kind of opens up. You have this special base of operations, likely a social hub, and they can choose to either play special co-op multiplayer missions or continue with this single player campaign that will give you control over the different characters as it makes sense for the story. So for one mission you will likely be playing Black Widow, for example, and then learn her background, fight her rivals, and get a good sense of her skills. But then in another mission you will be maybe switching between Iron Man and the Hulk as it makes sense for the mission. That way they can obviously have a better focus on the storytelling with awesome cutscenes, because they control who you play at that time and what heroes are present in this mission. It sounds like you unlock the heroes through this campaign as well, and then can take them to this multiplayer part that has up to 4-player co-op. And this basically sounds like a completely different game that has co-op focused missions that tie into the campaign but are just way less linear and actually more open, so it should give you more room to fly around as Iron Man or Thor. While in the campaign you are way more on rails. A great example is the Golden Gate Bridge part that we actually saw in the trailer, where Iron Man is flying and you have to dodge the incoming rockets. But you can just go in a straight line. Obviously you can go to the right and to the left, but the goal in this mission is to go in a straight line, so that is what you will do. So while these single player levels will be super linear and have a clear objective, I'm really curious to see how the more open levels will progress and how that overall impacts the gameplay. I think though that we already saw a good look at what these levels will look like. We had the small Hank footage where we see a ton of portals that drop these huge spider robots. So I would not be surprised if there was just one level where there were multiple of these tanks in an open map and you and the other players had to take them out one by one, but in what order is really up to you. During the Square Enix press conference where the Avengers game was of course revealed, they also showed multiple screenshots of, from the looks of it, the co-op part of the game that I sadly cannot find online, but at least we got the press conference footage, I guess. Like here we got Hulk and Thor and then Iron Man there in the air to the right, kind of confirming the flying in these levels, and we see Black Widow there as well on the left, all fighting this huge spider boss in, from the looks of it, again a co-op level. Also good to note is that you cannot pick the same character in the co-op. So if your main character is Iron Man and someone else already got that hero, then you cannot select it. So I hope that you can just matchmake with your favorite hero and are then put into a team with different heroes. Not that you get into a team with other players and then the first player to pick that character can be that character. So that also means that if you want to have a pre-made group with your friends, that you really have to discuss who each one is going to pick, so you don't pick the same one. Not sure how I really feel about this. I think it would actually be cooler and a great way for more diverse team compositions if everyone was just able to select a hero they wanted, so you could also have the same heroes in a mission. Especially since there should be multiple ways to build these heroes, so it should not be that your Iron Man is the same as mine. You can namely level up your heroes in the game and get gear for them that will impact the stats of your character. And there will be skill trees as well. They did not really go in depth on it right now, but they did mention that, for example, Captain America can fight with his fist, but also by throwing his shield, and you can focus your playstyle on either the ranged or melee attacks. So maybe you have a more melee focused Captain America and mine is more ranged focused. So there should be a ton of customization, and of course also in terms of look. And good to note is that the gear with stats is separate from the outfits that impact your look. We already see the white Iron Man armor as an example in the trailer, and there should be a ton of different costumes for the different heroes. And I mentioned that they took a lot of cues from the many comic books, for example. And this is likely where the microtransactions come in as well. According to IGN, we can expect custom outfits that will be available through microtransactions, and likely more stuff like emotes and dances and stuff like that, so only cosmetic stuff. Let's hope that all of these things are also earnable through playing, but overall it's not really weird that we see these types of extra purchases when they are supporting the game post-launch in a major way from the sounds of it, with new heroes. Hopefully Hawkeye, maybe Black Panther. I would not be surprised if we saw new missions as well that introduce these characters, and also new regions for us to explore. And I like this model more than having us pay for the new character or region, since the outfits are just an optional way to customize your character. Again though, I hope that everything, or at least a big part, is earnable in the game and not behind a paywall. So while we don't know the specific characters and regions that will be added for free post-launch, during a recent Q&A on Twitter, they did note that we would get them in regular intervals. So maybe every few months, or maybe even faster. There will also be a photo mode in this game, so it will be cool to make a photo of your team or of the special moments in the campaign. Not everyone was impressed with the graphics of the trailer. I gotta say, I don't really agree, and seeing the gameplay in action behind closed doors really showed the beauty of this game in my opinion. And also remember that the graphics should be improved because the game is coming out in 11 months from now and this was alpha footage, so I think it will be fine in the end. So what we normally see with games like this is that they can only be played online, but that's not the case for Marvel's Avengers. Again, it really sounds like two games in one. So if you just want to play through the story campaign, experience the narrative, learn the abilities of these different heroes and switch between them, they can do that without needing an online connection. So I also think that PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live is not required to play this game, only if you want to play with other people in the multiplayer part. So the game starts in San Francisco, but the developers hinted at other regions outside of the US as well, saying that the Avengers is a global team and that they are mostly looking at diverse regions that also work great with the different traversal of the heroes. We also see that in the screenshots they showed during the press conference. Like the heroes are flying in a more foresty areas with huge mountains, and we see them later fight in this rivery area as well, with Hulk carrying two bodies that he likely can use to smash enemies or to throw them against other enemies. And we see a way more urban environment as well, with the heroes fighting on the street. So it would be cool if we had one of the big open regions be in a city that we can explore. So we kind of combine all the info that we got. I think we got a pretty clear idea of what we can expect from this game. Sure, it would be great to see more gameplay, or actually the gameplay that they showed at E3. But overall, I'm more curious to see how the overall progression of the game will work and how long the single player campaign, for example, is. Like, will it be worth it to get the game only for the single player campaign? On the other hand, we got a ton of time since the launch with Gamescom coming up. Hopefully they will show some new stuff there. We likely got some Sony events in between now and the release of this game. And we of course know that they have a special deal for exclusive content on the PlayStation, and that the early access beta will first happen on the PlayStation and then later come to other platforms. But I think that it's great to know coming out of E3 that there will be a special single player focus for this game, but also a separate multiplayer part. It sounds like a really good combination. When we know more about Marvel's Avengers, I will of course let you know here on the channel. So totally subscribe to stay up to date on everything. A like on this video would be super appreciated. Check out my detailed breakdown of the behind closed doors demo if you haven't already. You can find the giveaway for the game in the pinned comment. And for now, I will speak to you next time. Goodbye.